I would like to see more honesty in the news reporting. That I have said earlier that I believe that the news media is a part of this division problem that we have. We also have that problem within the Republican Party that our so-called elite leaders do not openly support the president. And I think that has to happen, that has to change. And if you take those things and you move the news media into being a real news coverage. I understand they're always going to have a bias, but they don't have to be so biased against it. And just tell the news the way it is. So I think that would go a long, long ways to helping our society.
I get concerned anytime we loop any group of people all into one group. So when we say the media, I think there are responsible journalists out there, just like there are journalists who sell news for clicks. So I don't want to throw everybody into the same pile. I appreciate the media. They are the fourth estate. We need them. And so I have tremendous respect. And I will it's their job to hold my feet to the fire and hold me accountable. So yeah, I mean, I will say this. I have seen a distinct shift in our local television media lately to be less divisive, and I want to acknowledge that. I think they have seen what's been created in the last several years, and they have self-edited and shifted away from it, and it's a delight to watch. I mean, I'm not going to hammer the media.
I'm not saying that the media is necessarily partisan one way or the other. What they are is they have a narrative where the divisiveness gets more attention, right? Their interest is in sensationalism because that's what generates interest. If you're not going to click on a story about how everybody can get along, but you might click on a story about what one person called another person, or how nobody can get along, or how the world's going to hell. You know, that's what sells papers. That's what sells clicks these days, and that's what's driving this sensational nature of what's going on in the world. And the idea that sensationalism is driving us apart, I think is true, and I think that the media does bear some responsibility for that.
Well, the media definitely has an important role to play in our democracy and has been a symptom of the problem. And today, media companies have a business model of conflict. Conflict has become profitable. And those incentives lead to a lot of the pervasive effects we're seeing in our democracy, where it is all about conflict. It's about getting people yelling at each other on cable news. And as a result, that starts to poison our own minds. And we start to think that beating the other side is more important than a shared policy goal. And so we need to prioritize what's most important in our democracy. And so when it comes to the media, it creates a lot of these incentives for intoxicating our political minds. But here's the rub. We're not going backwards in the media environment. So I talk to people who are in the kind of old establishment, and they say, well, the way it used to be is we had 3 national news networks. People like Walter Cronkite would provide a common set of facts that we trusted, and that's why media worked better. So there's some truth to that, but we're not going back to that time. Media is becoming increasingly fragmented. Technology will continue to disrupt the media industry. We're going more towards streaming and on-demand. So my view is you need a nonpartisan, truthful media platform that is about having a diversity of ideas that aligns with the new consumption habits of Americans. And I'm very hopeful about platforms like podcasts that provide in-depth discussion and commentary in a format that works especially for young people. So we definitely need some disruptors in the media industry. I think it has to come from entrepreneurs. Talented young entrepreneurs are going to come in and disrupt this cycle and say, your business model of conflict and just demonization, partisanship is less interesting, and we're going to create a business model that rewards people who want to have a real conversation.